When you're ready.
Ready.
Okay, welcome to our review of the first week of finals and preview of the second. I've got on my left Keith Anderson, Warragul Joint Gazette, and on my right Mark Collison, the assistant coach at Warragul. Interesting. We'll do the elimination final first, I think. Well, that's the knockout one. And
yeah, but a little bit before that, because we've been here pre the taping discussing a few rumours. But the big rumour around at the weekend was that charge to get a car into the grand final. Now, is that on the go or not? Have we knocked that on the head?
Oh no, there's some premium car spots up on the top bank there that we've spoken about. But at the end of the day, the final decision will be made this Saturday. But
2 weeks out from the grand final? What do you mean?
No, it's a non. There's only room for a few cars.
That's right.
And the suggestion was put up that we have some cars that are in a premium spot. That if people are willing to pay an extra charge, they could have those prime spots. So that's on the cards, yes.
Hey, shouldn't this have all been worked out zonks ago when the decision to have the grand final at Moe was made? Are we going to have reservations as we did at Morwell? The only cars get in around the ground are for people who have the disabled sticker and booking in advance?
Yes, we have a row for that, and then there's about 5 rows, and we've got at the moment the second row would be the prime, and then the rest would be first in, best dressed.
And you're giving people who buy those spots, are you? Buy those spots?
Prime viewing area.
And are you going to give them a set of binoculars as they go through the gate?
It's a prime. That was the whole thing, Keith. There's extra rows, so the further back we would have to supply binoculars, so the charge there would have not worked. So it's the closer in. But yes, that's something that's been put up, and at this stage it's been agreed to, but we haven't worked out the exact rows.
Well, it's very late to say. You haven't communicated that. It's just,
It'll be over the next couple of weeks.
Oh, gee, well.
But at the moment, it's a pedestrian-only grand final, apart from those few car spots. Yeah, there's approximately 1,500 cars that need to be parked around the grand final, and at this stage, we think there's only about 100 cars that can get in anyway. So it's not really talking about a huge issue.
Oh.
But anyway, we'll go on to the review of the elimination final, which I'm sure people would be more interested in, wouldn't they, Colo?
Yeah, absolutely, mate.
Yes, Keith. What do you want to say about that elimination final?
Oh, switch it over to Mark. You've got to tell us who's playing in it first.
Oh, well, the elimination final, look, we'll go from the under-16s. Maffra 9-10 defeated Warragul 4-7. Your boys were a bit unlucky there. They just couldn't get it together, but they tried hard, had a good crew there, great support.
Yeah.
But Maffra just a little bit too strong, mate.
Yeah, mate. They had a good year, the under-16s under Crookie there. He come across from Moe. He's a really good coach and he looks after the boys pretty well. He does well with the kids. They've got some good young kids coming through though, especially young Dylan Proctor. He's going to be an absolute star. He was injured towards the finals a bit, which hurt the under-16s. But as a whole, they had a good year. They made finals, and it's a stepping stone, I suppose, towards next year, isn't it? And it's just about the kids developing and getting some time and enjoying it. So they've got a bit of experience now. And
it was a great effort, and it's good to see someone different. We've been sort of dominated by the East and the Middle in the juniors, but it was great to see Warragul in there. In the under-18s, Wonthaggi 7-11 defeated June 6-7. And that was a good game, Keith, and just unlucky for the June boys, just missed out by 10 points.
Yeah, they should really have had the game sewn up at half-time. They really wasted some great chances to get 4 or 5 goals in front in the first and second quarters. And Wonthaggi a bit bigger, a bit physically bigger, and it took its toll in the latter part of the game.
Okay, and in the reserves we had Morwell Traralgon, Morwell 12-8 defeating Traralgon 6-9, and being a local derby there, I think the Morwell boys were pretty pumped about that one.
Yeah, they would have been pretty excited, especially elimination final against Traralgon's always gets pretty heated.
And then we had the senior one where Wonthaggi ran out winners 14-21 to Traralgon 13-10 and ending Traralgon's seniors and reserves, knocking them both out of the finals, so which is very rare in Gippsland League. But that was another great game that sort of ebbed and flowed from the start to the finish.
Yeah, well, you'd have thought in the first half that Traralgon looked a much better side. They were slicker, their ball use was good, McKenna was good up forward. Yeah, they were doing it pretty well, but it really changed after half time. And I think one of the big lessons that comes out of this is sides are going with one ruckman and then a pinch hitter, and Julian Blackford did a bit of that for Morwell on Saturday against sides that have two big guys, and Wonthaggi with Earl Shaw and Chris Wiley, and Mafra with Owen Booth and Brent Connolly, present real challenges to the sides that haven't got that second ruckman. And I think it cost Traralgon at the finish. The young guy in the ruck, Jaden Steers, did a pretty commendable job, but just the weight of numbers and experience, and really told it and brought blokes like Warnett, Blair, Jones.
Well, early on it looked all Traralgon though, didn't it? But
yeah.
Wonthaggi just, and you had a favourite there for, and I'm not sure, and I apologise for not pronouncing it correctly, but you were taken with Ferreira Nito. There was that little bit of magic, that ace up their sleeves that just did some magic stuff and got them going at times.
Well, he did, and particularly in the second half. But if I can go back to the ruckman, like McKenna's played a terrific game, got 7 goals. But he was the second ruckman. You take him out of the forward line, put him in the ruck for a period, and I think if Traralgon could have their day over again, they'd perhaps change things there. But a terrific win by Wonthaggi there. The way they pulled it out, the first half of the last quarter with only 17 men, with Aaron Ware sin bin, Adam Cook, the major go-to forward, off the field injured. They did a fantastic job to come back and win that game.
Yeah, were you surprised with that result?
Oh, not really. I thought the bottom four sides of the 5, besides Sale, I thought they were all pretty even. Like, you could have thrown a blanket at all 4 of them, and I think Moore came back to the pack. And you got to remember, Wonthaggi were the top 3 for halfway through the season, and they were one of the teams to really look out for. But I think they structure up a lot better than probably what Traralgon do as a whole, with their presses and the way they set up behind the footy. But when you look at they kicked 14 goals. 21 behinds, and that's obviously with Cook injured. It's a fair score, and I probably didn't think they could, to be honest, I didn't think they had that kind of firepower at forward, Wonthaggi. But when you look at them as a balance, they've got a good forward in Cook. They've got a pretty good midfield with probably arguably the best ruck in the league in Shaw, and their backline holds up all right. So they're going to be as much a chance as anyone else if they can get to obviously that last day. But they're going to be a show if they can stay fit.
Okay, we'll go to the qualifying final, which will start off. Sale defeated Moe in the under-16s 12-15 to 2-9. Sale had most of the way there. It just Moe couldn't stop them scoring.
It's been a big jump for Moe in that competition. They'll be better for it, and I think this week they might bounce back.
Okay, in the under-18s we had Bairnsdale 8-8 defeating Sale 5-10. And again, that was a pretty high standard game.
Oh, no, that was a good game. You get good under-18 footy, and it's really good to watch, and the top teams. And no, that was a really good game, and a really deserved win by Bairnsdale.
And then in the reserves we had Warragul 6-10 defeating Sale 5-6, but at half time it was actually Warragul 1-6 to Sale 5-3. Warragul actually looked like they were done and dusted, and looking like, oh my God, we're not going to get anywhere. And all of a sudden, their second half, they've made a few changes and they've come out and just wiped Sale.
Yeah, I think I've said to a lot of people at the weekend and since that I wouldn't have backed Warragul with monopoly money at half time, but they turned it around. A couple of crucial changes. Nick Edney went right into the centre of the ground. Ash Blackwood went forward. He and Bryce Monaghan, the full forward, really combined well. One going forward, one going back and moving around. And Warragul got in where the sail just run completely out of pup in the warm conditions. Not sure, but it was a really good comeback from Warragul. And they and Wonthaggi, who played this week, have been the two top sides in the reserves this year. So it's good to see them hit up in second semi.
So you've been talking to the boys at all, Colo?
Oh, it's the who's who of the Fossils down there, mate. We've got Fleet playing, coming back, playing, dusting the boots off, and Rhodesy in there. They're the two of the older fellas, but they've got a pretty good, got some handy footballers. Ben Bowman, he played for us for the last 4 or 5 games, and he's a real talent. He's basketball background. He'll be as good as Ruckman. He's as good as Ruckman in the ones. Little name playing the two. So they've got some good keys. They just been enjoyment though, isn't it? And hopefully they get a result and cap off a good year and have a bit of fun.
Yeah, well, I think the rehab would have been pretty mild because I saw Rhodesy and Horse on Sunday and they were both limping around hot weather. Yeah. I don't think they were going to be doing any running for this week.
Before you know it, Greeny will be down there trying to dust the boots off soon too to try to fit in. But yeah, no, they did well.
Okay, in the seniors, Maffra ended up having a great second half as well, coming ahead and knocking off Morwell, 20 goals 6 to 14-15, which I think before the game, actually Morwell were the favourites, but Maffra, perennial finalist Maffra, and they showed what they're made of.
Yeah, well, I tipped Morwell. I thought they'd come up. They get back. They've done it well during the season, and I tend to, go that way with sides that have the runs on the board. But got away to a great start. Second and third quarters, Maffra far dominant. Morwell came back a bit at the finish when it was, the game was really out. But I think it exposed a couple of, we know what Maffra's got, and what they had last Saturdays about what they're going to take all the way through or however far they go. But I think just one ruckman at Morwell was exposed there. With Tom Crosby against Alan Booth, Connolly doing a fair bit around the boundary throw-ins, and then absolutely superb game. It was a 6'7" wingman at high half forward and chipped in with 3 goals. And I'd just about given him best on the ground. And the other thing, Morwell just hasn't got that strong forward. It may have been why they were after Anthony Rocker, just to make that contest. And Dean McDonald was absolutely fantastic. He kicked 9 goals in a losing side, and they were 9 different goals. He got them different ways and just showed his class. Mannon Johnson got a couple early, but the rest of the forwards didn't contribute much on the scoreboard. And the other thing that was disappointing, I didn't think they contributed much in the defensive side, and allowed the ball just to be set out wide to Hayden Bergil and Batala, who are very good at just setting up from there. If they're in the clear, take a bounce and then deliver the ball into the right spot. So Morwell should have learned a bit. I'd be very surprised if they don't go in against Wonthaggi this week with 2 ruckmen and bring Luke Norder back in, who played in the seconds. They certainly need it.
Okay, well what we'll do, we'll go on to the preview.
But the other thing with Maffra, they're very good. Darren Sheehan, I thought was terrific. 7 goals. Again, he was a bit like McDonald, though, different ways he got them. He also fed off a few, surprises people with his agility and smarts. He's a lot more than just a big unit.
Okay, well we'll go on to the weekend. We've got Saturday coming up in the second semi-final, which the winner goes straight into the grand final. The loser will go into the preliminary final. And we have 2 local derby, this will be a hot game, Sale versus Maffra. They've got 1 win against each other for the season, so I'll leave it up to you great forecasters as to how you think it'll go. What do you reckon, Colo?
Yeah, I think with Mafra, you've probably got to kill them off early. I think that's where they're at. If you can get them early, I think they'll find it hard to come back, especially against Sale. But if you let them linger around and they're in the contest in the second half, they're very hard to beat. As soon as Hayden and Adrian obviously get their hands on the footy, and then you've got Porter, Bedgood. I think Folk, very underrated. He's very key for them because he's their third tall and he can go forward or back. So if you let Mafra hang around, they will hurt you, and they control the footy. They're very similar to Maul. That's what I thought it was going to be a very similar game on the weekend. Once they get the footy from half back, they're hard to get it off. They're very good by foot, Mafra, but obviously Sale is still a cut above anyone, I think, personally. But if Mafra hang around, it'll be a contest. But if Sale put the foot down early, I would expect probably Sale to win by 20 to 40 points, somewhere around there.
Okay, well, what do you think, Keith?
Well, Sale hasn't done much wrong. Lost one game, and that was more than 3 months ago. One of the things I'll really be interested in watching in this game is in the ruck. So is Jack Whitman, and I think then they've probably got a pinch hitter as their second ruckman. And I just think in finals it's pretty hard to carry, and I'll be interested in how Booth and Connolly, their influence on the game. I think we've seen what Mafra's got. At Sale have got a few wins this week. I'm not quite sure of the availability of work of Shoeback and
Collins at the back, I think.
Justin McRae. Yeah, but you've got, I think Kane Martin will probably be back. Ferguson will be back. They look a pretty good side. They're not overly tall. They've got plenty of blokes at 6'1" and whatever category. But I look forward to the game immensely. I'm sure Mafra are looking forward to immensely. I just think the runs on the board suggest Sale.
Okay then, so it all looks like if it goes the way of you great forecasters, it'll be a Sale victory. Who do you reckon will instigate the best press then? You saw two presses working very well over the weekend.
Sale and Mafra? I'm not quite sure with the Sale thing. I've seen Mafra a little bit more than Sale this year, but maybe that go okay.
Okay, we'll go to the first semi now. This is the knockout one, of course. The winner goes into the preliminary final, but the loser, it's mothballs. And we've got Maul versus Wonthaggi. Colo, you go first. Mate.
This is interesting. I reckon these two sides structure up the best out of any side we've played this year, or that I've played against. I think they're very well coached, especially Maul. I think Maul we've seen coaching. I think he's done really well with the way they set up and with what they've got to use. I just think he has got the best out of him, but I think we've seen their ceiling, which is a bit of a worry too. I was the same with Wonthaggi as well. When we played them early on the year when they were firing, they were as good a side as any. To get the ball out of halfway from them, from the kick out, is near on impossible sometimes, but I think that's what it's going to be a battle of who structures well. And I just think if Wonthaggi had Cook, Shaw, and their midfielders, I think it's going to be hard to stop. But Maul will be in the contest, just the way they set the footy out. And you've obviously got to watch Singh and blokes like that sitting off the back, setting them up by foot. And if Maul's defenders in Brown can keep Cook quiet and keep Wonthaggi without having too many shots on goal, it could go any way. It's probably really tight, and that's the call. But I'll probably pick Wonthaggi, I reckon.
And one of the things is because Harmit Singh's been getting a lot of praises through the year, and so he should. But Robbie Railton, the coach of Wonthaggi's probably gone a bit unnoticed because when a few times that I have seen Wonthaggi, there have been some really good bench moves, and they all seem to come off.
I think he definitely. I don't know much about him personally, but just from playing against their side early on the year, they were super impressive in terms of how they set up their press and how they set up around the ball, and they've got all the tools. They've got a gun ruckman in Shaw, they've got a good midfield and Warnett White, they've got a good forward line, and they've got a solid back line. So they really no excuses on a hard track. I reckon it'll probably suit them a little bit more because they probably lack a little bit of speed around the ball. But I think they just get over more. I reckon they're just starting to come right.
And look, for the viewers, we are outside. You can hear those birds out there, and I don't know whether it's the Hawks having a crack at the gulls, since we've got a Drawn and a Warrigal rep. But anyway, excuse...
It's the parrots.
It might be the parrots, but anyway, excuse the noise, but we are outside. Okay, your take on this, Keith?
Yeah, I'm far off 100%, so I don't think he'll play. But if they played most of the year without him anyway, he probably only played 5 or 6 games. He's an important player, and it's very easy after the first week of finals to pick the side that won against the side that lost when they come up against each other. I think if Morwell can learn some lessons out of their defeat last week, they should learn some lessons out of that defeat. I mentioned earlier, bring in a second ruckman, particularly with Wonthaggi's 2 bigs, if you're picking sides to play the opposition. I was just, the pace of Wonthaggi in the second half, which seems to contradict your Colo's view there. The pace of them in the second half was brilliant. They just wore Traralgon down. A lot of that was due to the dominance that Shaw and Wiley got in the ruck, and they really made the going good for their smaller guys. But Shaw, I saw particularly in that second half, he used his body a lot better at the ball ups, where he then started to create space for the little blokes. He got in and bumped a few out of the road and put in some blocks. And I'll give them all one last chance. It's the only last chance they got. But I reckon this is a real toss-up. And Wonthaggi, it was really meritorious win last week. It's probably a bit of a feel-good to that win. And, sorry to the Traralgon people in saying that, but there was a bit of feel-good in the win. They come from behind, they had some things go against them that wear off the Cook injured, but they fought magnificently, and it was really good to watch.
And they've got a couple of little tenacious players, like you say with Speed, young Jack Blair. He'll run an opponent down, tackle him, and then seems to be able to get the ball to spill out, then take off, take a couple of bounces and have it. So that makes him look super quick when he does that.
Well, the other little guy you mentioned earlier, I've been wrestling with his name all day, Aloisio Ferrer Nito.
We've got to come up with a nickname there, Colo. I don't know what it is, but
he's a Brazilian. I understand, but he came up from the thirds, and he actually went onto the ground with the thirds, run out in the strip with the thirds, and then came off and took his gear off. So that was great, and he's obviously loving his footy and Wonthaggi to be loving the way he's playing it.
All right then, well, I think that's it for this week. We're at Moe on Saturday, Traralgon on Sunday. Hope you can get along to watch the best footy and best netball in the region. And we'll see you all see you at those grounds on the weekend. And thanks to Colo and Keith, and hopefully we'll catch up with you next week.